Good morning, everyone, and welcome to From My Pen, sponsored by the great studio of 810 Vance Street, Clinton, North Carolina. We are so glad that you're here to listen in and to join in with us. We have a phenomenal woman on this morning, a great author, and she's going to bring forth much encouragement about her book, herself. Welcome, Dr. Elissa Peterson. Welcome.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here with you all.
Thank you. Thank you. One of the first things I want to ask you that I ask a lot of our guests here, please share with us about you. What would you like our viewing and listening audience to know about you?
Oh, I like to say that I am a full-time God's girl and a
Oh,
part-time
yes,
everything else, right?
yes,
So I
yes.
am a mother of two. I have a son and a daughter, and I'm a wife.
Okay,
And that is the foundation of who I am. All the
okay.
other things are the other things, and they matter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm an author and a publisher. I'm a doctor of naturopathy.
Okay.
I'm an entrepreneur. I think the purpose in my life right now, and I'm trying to walk in that,
Mm-hmm.
is to help others realize their dreams, help others to really rid their bodies of dis-ease. So, I have
Mm-hmm.
like a dual career
Mm-hmm.
happening right now. The naturopath side and the natural health and healing side, I call that my soul work. I
Okay.
think God has just assigned me to do that
Mm-hmm.
whenever possible to help others. And then the author and publisher side, I was just born with the gift of the written word. And I've been writing for since I was 8 years old. It's
Mm-hmm.
just who I am. And
Okay.
so that's really me in a nutshell.
Okay. Dr. Elisa, what about this soul work? I'm going to piggyback on that. What is that all about?
Oh, that was born out of pain. And so we're charged to not let our pain control us or rule us. We have to
Okay.
transform that pain into purpose. And I always had an interest in the medical industry. But then I got married and I had my children, and I wasn't able to go to medical school. But now I see why. When my mother was diagnosed with cancer,
Mm-hmm.
that took a toll on me that was just, I can't explain it in words, the pain that I went through to get her, really accompany her to her last days.
Okay.
And what I realized during that time is that pain and grief manifests itself physically. I also realized some other things about healthcare and how some things are not connecting, and some of the dots. I just saw some voids in her healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
All of my hair fell out. I was the first time I ever saw a cardiologist. I was in my 30s. This is about maybe 10 years ago when my mother passed away. I wasn't equipped to deal with any of it. But
Mm-hmm.
some of the key lessons that I learned there was, how did she get to this point where I felt that she died too soon?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is not to challenge God's will for our life. I
Mm-hmm.
just felt like, how did she get here like this? What is the missing part of this?
Mm-hmm.
I started to figure out, how can I grow my hair back? All of my hair was gone. The grief had manifested. I was
Mm-hmm.
at the cardiologist. I had to do all of this testing. I had broken heart syndrome. I
Okay.
realized the connection between natural health to heal ourselves, natural health to extend our lives during that time. That's how I went on that journey to become Dr. Elisa. So
Mm-hmm.
I went to two schools at the time, one college for natural health, another college for psychology, because it all connects mind, body, spirit. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I ended up there. It was just born out of pain. But the soul work is, how can I help others to live a more complete and fulfilled life, rid their body of disease? And I've
Mm-hmm.
become really good at that. But it's a
Mm-hmm.
mind, body, spirit approach.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll be talking to you soon about that particular part of our discussion. I was diagnosed with MS in 2003. And it has been a process. I've had it for over 20 years, Dr. Elisa, but
Mm,
it's still there and it still manifests itself in some horrific ways. I've had a rough week this week, but I am still standing. The
Yes.
doctor said in 2005 they don't know why I was still standing, but I'm still here
Well,
and I'm
praise
still
God.
standing. It gets on my nerves now. It really
Yes, of
does,
course.
you know. But
Yes.
I'll talk to you soon about the soul healing and the soul grabbing hold of our very souls. You just keep it moving. So
Yes.
we'll talk about that in the future,
Yes,
if you
absolutely.
don't mind.
Of
Okay,
course. Of course.
okay, okay.
Yes.
You've already answered this, but we're going to go a little further, go a little deeper. What is your passion?
Mm.
What you just told
You
me,
know,
right?
I think I'm still figuring it out.
Okay.
If I look back over my life,
Mm-hmm.
I am a work in progress,
Okay.
but I have been able to identify when others are. And so I feel like
Okay.
I'm just taking that journey with everyone else. We're just
That's
trying to
wonderful.
realize our
Mm-hmm.
highest self, our best self.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so maybe my passion is helping others. It
Okay.
seems to be what I've done over the last 20 years of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You do you enjoy that? It does it give you a sense of purpose? It's like, each individual, whatever their issue is or problem, that I can grab a hold of that person and give a hug or a talk or inspiration or encouragement. How does it make you feel on the inside?
Whenever I'm able to help someone publish a book
Yeah,
or
okay.
help someone in their health and wellness, or just anything that somebody may be going through, I mean, it's fulfilling
Mm-hmm.
because when you give, it does something to the person
I
that receives,
agree. I agree.
but it does something really wonderful for the person who gives.
Mm-hmm.
So it does feel good. Now, I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you, over the years, and we have to be so careful as women, we give ourselves away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I had to learn who to give it to
Okay.
and to qualify those people in my life who I was helping and giving my time and my effort, my love and my resources to.
Okay.
And so you learn that over time.
Okay. Okay. Um, do you consider yourself as a creative person? And if
Yes.
so, yeah, no, I can feel
Yes.
that. I don't have to ask you that. Um, you've been creating and creating and creating for how
Mm.
long? It was
Ooh.
it before your mom became ill?
Yeah,
Even
I've been
before?
writing. I've been
Yeah.
writing since the age of 8.
Okay.
My father, Joe Thomas, he passed away in 2017, but he was a
Okay.
very well-regarded jazz musician.
Oh.
And he recorded 9 albums in his
Mm.
career.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, I'll just make this brief. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. We grew
Okay.
up in a three-family home. We lived on the second floor apartment of that home. And way in the back of the apartment was my bedroom. It's offside the
Mm-hmm.
kitchen. Way in the front of the apartment, during those days when they built those homes, they had these little side rooms that really wasn't enough space to make a bedroom or to do much with. But he created that little tiny space and we called it the piano room. So he
Oh.
had all of his sheet music, he had his piano in there, all of his instruments. He was a saxophonist first and then everything else after.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
he was also a wordsmith. And I remember one Saturday morning, I was woke out of my sleep, excuse me, and I heard this melody coming from the
Mm-hmm.
piano room, and it was my father playing the piano. And I got up and I walked down the hall and I said, "Dad, what is this melody?" And he said, "This is a new song that I wrote. It's called Peace in the Storm." And he played the music and he read the words to me.
Mm-hmm.
That is when I had fallen in love with the gift of the written word and the spoken word because he was so eloquent in his
Mm-hmm.
demeanor. It was also the first time that I remember feeling the presence of God.
Mm-hmm.
And so that year at 8 years old, it was a pivotal year for me because I
Mm-hmm.
began to write. That
Okay.
inspired me to create my own words. So when you ask, am I a creative? Yes, absolutely. Um, and the song Peace in the Storm, The title, Peace in the Storm, became my publishing company many
Mm,
years later.
okay,
Peace in the
okay,
Storm Publishing, and that's been around, will be in our 20th year in 2025. So yeah, I've been a creator for a very long time. And I
okay,
owe that to Joe Thomas.
okay. Are
Mhm.
you a musician? Do you
No,
play in?
no, no,
Okay,
no.
okay,
I can just write. And that's
okay,
thank God
okay.
for that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Um, how do you balance your life? How do you balance your life with mom, wife, creator?
Mhm.
Where's your balance?
You know, it came along the way.
Okay.
And I can tell you that I set certain parameters very early in life, and I didn't even know that I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my children really early. At
Okay.
20 years old, I had my children back to back. But I knew then that they were the priority,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else would have to work around them. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how I've led my life. And
Okay.
so I think even without knowing, the balance came by understanding the priority and the hierarchy of which my life had to go by. The
Okay.
standards that I set for myself
Mm-hmm.
at that early age.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was commuting back and forth to work for the first few years of their life. And then I found a way to work from home because I knew they needed me more. I
Mm-hmm.
cried every day that I dropped them off at daycare. And this was many years ago. People weren't working from home like they do now.
Mm-hmm. They weren't.
And
Mm-hmm.
so when I was able to work from home, I said, listen, I don't want to work for this company the rest of my life like this. Let me put my gifts to use. My children are stable. I'm here. If they call, I'm here. How can I take part of my day to do what I
Mm-hmm.
need to do?
Okay.
So that's when the creativity came in. I said, okay, let me get this publishing going. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I sent out my books to so many publishers and they all rejected me. But if you know anything about me, you
Mm-hmm.
know that I'm not going to stand for somebody rejecting me without that being a call to action for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I created Peace in the Storm Publishing.
Okay.
I was still able to raise my children and be there for them, number one. It
Mm-hmm.
kind of all worked out. And then when I would integrate different things and creativity and opportunities into my life, I just made sure that the children always remain at the top of that hierarchy.
That's
They
great.
needed to because I didn't want them to fall by the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
I only get one chance really to do all of this, but one chance to be their mom. And I really couldn't screw that up. I had to make sure that they were the priority. So
Okay.
that's what set the tone as far as balance, and everything else I was able to integrate into my life.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds easier said than done. It wasn't always easy, but that was the children were the foundation
Okay.
of the Elissa Gabrielle tree. Everything else blossomed from there, but I kept them first and foremost.
You don't hear that every day, Dr. Elisa, that the foundation comes from the children. You don't really hear that every day. And I think that's pretty phenomenal for you to speak that and to say that. I think that's pretty awesome.
Well, thank
Um,
you.
how old are your children now? Where are they at these days?
Oh, you know, they were so beautiful and they could charm the skin off a snake. They're just
Mhm,
amazing
mhm.
children. My children are in their mid-20s now. Yeah, they're
Well,
beautiful
you
people.
look like you're in your mid-20s. You look phenomenal. You look
Listen.
so beautiful. Yes,
Well,
yes.
thanks and thank
You
you. And
really
so
do.
thank you.
Um, what do you like the most about connecting with people? And based on our conversation that has gone forth so far, you do connect with people. What's the key to that?
Having a certain relatability, I think.
Okay, okay.
And someone said this to me yesterday. They said, Elisa, you know, you really are able to connect with people. Isn't that
Hmm.
interesting? Just 24 hours a day, we have
Yes.
the same conversation. You know, I don't, it's not by my design. It's just the way my life is, I think I could say. But let me take it one step deeper because I just
Mhm,
want to think about it in real time. The relatability, A lot of times with women, I can understand them because I've walked in their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't get to this place without having to deal with some pain, and pain is transformative,
It
and
is.
I can identify that in other people.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly because I treat people the way I want to be treated. And I think I would give people enough credit to understand that when they have somebody around them that will treat them as the way God calls us to treat others, they can
Mm-hmm.
probably sense that. You have a
Yes.
lot of the opposite in the world.
You sure
You
do.
have to watch who's around you,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, but let's deal in reality. And so when you deal with people, and there's many people like me that just are here in their genuine and authentic self,
Mm-hmm.
without any games or agendas or ill intentions,
Mm-hmm.
I think people can identify that because it's so much of the other stuff available.
Yeah.
There may
Yeah.
be like a contrast there. I
Yes.
hope at least. But, yeah.
That's amazing that people can identify if you're fake I don't know, like you just said, ignoring the fact that you've been through something and you take that something that you've been through and help somebody else, hiding it, putting it in the closet and trying to let it stay in the closet. I was just sharing with my executive editor, not editor, producer, that Dr. Elisa, when I was growing up, there was an era of time that women did not talk about what they went through. Didn't know until I was grown from my mom what a lot of the neighborhood women went through. Some of the
Yeah,
same things that you and I may have gone through.
sure.
And maybe I could have needed, or I needed for them to share with me, you
Yeah,
can make it because I did. So
yes,
that stuff was kind of hidden. You know that saying they say these days, um, what happens at home stays at home. There's
yeah,
a saying that goes around like that. I could have used some of that stuff that happened at home
yeah,
shared with me. So I agree with you that
sure.
we as women in the year 2024 need to be relatable and share things and let women and men and boys and girls know you can make it.
Yes,
It is attainable. Yes, ma'am.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just want to speak on that for a second and I'll show you this.
Okay. Yeah.
That, what you just said, really was a catalyst for two things that happened this year and ongoing, last year and this year. So we
Mm-hmm.
released the book, an anthology, The Breakthrough, Beauty for
Mm-hmm.
Ashes, and I'm going to mail you a copy of it. And
Okay.
it's 14 women that have come together, including my daughter. It's her first time being a published author. And we tell our stories about how we arrived at our own individual breakthrough. And it's relative to the way I've raised my children and what you
Mm-hmm.
said, what goes on at home stays at home. There's so much bondage in that.
I agree.
And I hate to use the word curse, but I'm going to use it for this. The
Yep.
generational curses.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope your audience doesn't think that I truly believe in a curse, but it's the best way to say
Okay.
it. Generational pain, generational
Mm-hmm.
trauma, if that
Mm-hmm.
feels better.
Mm-hmm.
We pass that down to our children when we're not speaking our truth. What I decided to do with my children
Mm-hmm.
is to let those traumas and those curses and that pain stop with me as best I could. So the things that I've carried and you've carried and so many of us have carried and that bondage, I
Mm-hmm.
said, you know, let's do something different. So
Mm-hmm.
my daughter and son won't pass that down. That's why the breakthrough was written. And that's why this book, You Are the Love of Your Life, a 21-day Black women's guide to putting yourself on your to-do list. That's why I wrote this book.
Okay.
Because we have to have these honest conversations about why we need to be on our list.
Mm-hmm.
We put everything and everyone before us. And what happens? We deal with so much and we suffer in silence. Here's the trick though. We think we're being quiet, we think it's
Mm-hmm.
silent when it's killing us. It's
Okay.
manifesting so out loud in our
Okay.
bodies and
Okay.
in the way that we live and when we rush to an early grave because we are holding on to the burdens that don't belong to us. But if we find the courage to set ourselves free, put ourselves on our to-do list. Understand that we are the love of our very own life. We won't hand that down to our children. They won't hand that down to their children. They'll have the courage to say, you know what, this is not for me. You're not going to do this to me. You're not going to cause me this pain. I will have a voice. I'm going to speak up. I'm going to shout, even if my voice shakes. I'm going to stand, even if my knees buckle. That's been the lesson that I've given to my children. So I've
Uh-huh.
raised them a bit differently. If you talk to my daughter now, you would think that she's 40. She's mid-20s because of the wisdom that she has.
Okay.
She's not going to be a doormat. She's not going to let anyone run over her. And I love her for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 5'11". My daughter's a tiny tot. She's about five
You're a
six.
tall lady. You're a tall
Yes,
lady.
yes. And my daughter is 10 feet tall on the inside. Her spirit
Okay.
is
Okay.
magnificent.
That's good.
And I hope I've been able to free her and my son from some of the things that we carry generationally. It's so important because it will manifest physically, emotionally, psychologically, because we haven't been given the freedom to release it. We haven't forgiven ourselves to release it. It's so important. We
Mm-hmm.
have to do the work and understand that we deserve that work to be done.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I think we have issues with that, Dr. Elisa. Um,
Well,
I'm
we
I'm
got to
gonna go
break
back.
through it.
You said that we have to put ourselves on the to-do list. I
Yes.
love that. I love
Yes.
that. And um doing to others is, help somebody, love on people, hug on people, speak
Yes.
to people. And in the meantime, make sure we put ourselves on that list too. So,
Do unto others, speak to people, love on people, hug on people.
yeah.
Start with us first.
Okay. Okay. So how
Absolutely.
are we going to do that if we don't start with ourselves?
Well, we have to understand that we are worthy of it.
Mhm.
And it takes a lot of introspection.
Mhm.
It takes identifying that you need to work on yourself.
Okay.
Books like this are
Mhm.
born out of pain. I wasn't able to write this book if I
Dr.
hadn't
Elisa,
gone. Yes.
go ahead and talk about your book. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead and dig into it.
Okay.
Okay.
So listen, the
Thank you.
books like this are born out of pain. I
Okay.
would not have been able to write this book, and it's a series of four.
Okay.
In this series, it's called the "You Are Enough" series. If I hadn't gone through a measure of pain in my own life, and so with this book, I cover so many things, and I start with rewriting the narrative, unlearning and relearning self-love as a Black woman.
Mhm.
This is the way this book starts because I want you to know that the things that have happened in our lives, most of it isn't our fault, but it is our responsibility
Okay.
to heal ourselves.
Okay.
So I start with throughout history, the narrative of Black women is a profound interweaving of resilient strength and unwavering grace. From the shores of Africa to the plantations of the New World, our journey has been one that's been marked by both triumph and tragedy. Our story bears the indelible marks of slavery,
Mhm.
that legacy of slavery, a haunting echo of a past that has shaped our present reality in profound ways. So, if you even go back to slavery, you'll understand that Black women had the brunt of so much to deal with. That has been carried down generationally. Haven't we talked about that just now?
Yes.
Yeah. So, day one is you are the love of your life. And that's how we start. It's a 21-day journey. And the end of
Mhm.
these 21 days, because we know it takes 21 days to form a new habit, right? At the end of these 21 days, you're going to learn how to love yourself differently. And when you are better to and for yourself, you're better to everyone else. I know that because I've been a witness to it.
Mhm.
Each iterance and stage in my life, each chapter where I've become better, my children have become better. It is just a ripple effect. The
Mhm.
same would go if I had become worse in areas. My children, my husband, everybody would have become worse.
I hear you.
So, this book and the series, You Are the Love of Your Life, is the first one. You Are Your Legacy is number two. You Are Worthy of Forgiveness is number three. And number four is You Are Not Your Pain. So, we take you through the whole journey here, and you should come out renewed and refreshed and ready to tackle life in a new kind of way because you will be renewed and
Let,
restored.
let me throw this one at you. This is from a commercial on TV. I want your thoughts on this. I think it's pretty dynamite. It's a commercial about cancer medication. At the end of the commercial, it says, when you die, you may leave a legacy of being a phenomenal woman as yourself, a phenomenal wife, an author, but who wants to be known for having cancer? So, what
Hmm.
are your thoughts on that particular statement from that commercial? It's like all you can think about when the person dies and they're laying in the coffin in front of the church is that they had cancer.
Wow. Well, oh, let me be careful with my words. It
I
seems
know, I
to
know, I
be a
know.
bit, it's a little jarring. I don't want to say manipulative. I didn't see the commercial, but um, listen, whoever's laying in that casket that has passed
Mhm.
away from cancer, I'm
Mhm.
sure their loved ones would have known that they have been much more than someone who was diagnosed with cancer.
I got you. I
So
understand.
let's start there. It's unfortunate that I think maybe that was worded in a way I didn't see it, but the legacy, and I'll talk about that we
Okay.
build in our lives happens every day in and day
Mhm.
out, by the
Mhm.
choices we make, the decisions we make, and the efforts, what we do with our resources, what we do with our time, who we extend grace to, how we raise our
Okay.
children,
Mhm.
what we give to society. Um, how disciplined we are, how we love one another. That is how we build our legacy. Most people say, well, my legacy is my children or my legacy is my book. Your legacy is all of who you are. And it's not just a cancer diagnosis,
Mhm.
it's everything.
I
It's
got you.
all of who you are. So
Mhm.
it's Dorcas Speedy. Everything that you have done in your life becomes your legacy, not Dorcas because she's temporarily dealing with MS, okay?
I got
Because we want to
you.
claim that, right?
Okay.
For the rest of our life, you won't be claiming that.
I like
It
that.
is
Mhm.
Dorcas who is all of these beautiful, wonderful things that everybody loves about her. It is not just that one thing. So
Mhm.
I'm relating the MS to the cancer. You're not just that, right? You are
Right.
all these wonderful, beautiful, magnificent things, and the people who are closest to you, and even ones from afar who you have touched, including me by reaching out. I'm so honored to have met you. We will say that your legacy is not just one thing. So let's be careful of the tricks of the enemy,
I
um,
know. You're
thinking
right.
who we are as people because we're not
Mhm.
going to be falling for that kind of stuff.
Thank you. Thank you. I needed that. Thank you very much. I know our viewing audience needed it as well. Is there another drawer that you would like open for you? Is there another something else that you would like to reach out for as
Mm,
part of your legacy? Right, your
no,
author. So what's
yeah.
what's next? What's next?
I've done so much in my life, and I feel like if God called me home today, I'd hope He would say, "Well done." I hope He doesn't call me home today because my children need me.
I hear you.
But, um, that's a really good question. I have to think about it. I was thinking of returning to get my PsyD, my like a doctorate in psychology. I was thinking about
Mm-hmm.
that because we
Mm-hmm.
need more mental health resources in our communities. I don't know if I have the bandwidth for it right now, but it is on my purview, I guess I could say
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
I've done so much. I really have to think about it, but in ways that I could serve. Um, but that's going to take some thought because I have done so much. I like where I'm at right now, and I hope my offerings
Mm-hmm.
able to help others. But it may be going back to school, or it may be I don't know. I
Okay.
think maybe
Okay.
God will order my steps, and then I'll learn soon what else He wants me
Okay.
to do.
Okay. I'm glad I brought it to your attention.
Yes, thank you.
And when you go forward, just think about little old me and said, Dorcas said this.
Grand
Taught
old
me this.
Dorcas, the grand, beautiful Dorcas, right?
Is there a message that you would like to leave with our viewing and listening audience? Go for it, Dr. Elisa. What do you want to leave with us today?
You know, I want you to know that you should probably cut out the noise. Get back to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Go to church. Love on your family.
Mm-hmm.
Turn off the TV.
Okay.
Shut the phone down for some time. Go take a walk in nature. Eat some good, healthy food.
Okay.
Meditate. Pray. Do some deep breathing. Love on yourself a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Go after your dreams. Shut out the noise so you can realize your highest, best self.
Okay.
Um, don't ever fall victim to, and if you have, forgive yourself. The limitations that others place on your life are their limitations and not
Mm-hmm.
yours. Um, your life really is about the purpose. You're here for a purpose and a reason. Take that as a call to action.
Mm-hmm.
Live a life that you know God will be pleased with. Live a life that when you wake up in the morning each day, you feel proud of who you are when you wake up.
Okay.
Forgive yourself for everything that you have done or you didn't do. Forgive yourself for the things that you have allowed other people to do and forgive them for doing it.
Okay.
Do everything in your life to set yourself free so that you can live a beautiful life full of passion and purpose. Remember that you are not your pain. You are not the terrible things that have happened to you. Um, be everything that God has called you to be.
Mm-hmm.
Really, be that.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you have to do it alone, you know, it's this is your journey. A part of it is just your journey.
Okay.
And have the courage to live your life out loud in full, bold, vibrant color, you know. Shut out the noise.
That's the number one thing I remember from what you're saying. That's this very second is shut out the noise. Now, at least the noise could be kind of loud sometimes.
Mhm.
Even our own noise, even
Yeah.
our own negativity. Um, where do you think some of our negativity comes from? Is it all us, or the things that we received down through the years from others, or
All of
both?
it.
All of it.
All
All
of
of it.
it. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you get to the point where you can identify that, you know, mental health help is great. Find a therapist, find someone
Mm-hmm.
to talk to, help to
Mm-hmm.
unravel that. A lot of it's societal. It's the
Mm-hmm.
information and the content that we consume will have you thinking that, you know, your cancer diagnosis is your legacy. We just talked
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of the societal pressures will have you thinking that you're not thin enough, you're not beautiful enough. It's so many things there.
Mm-hmm.
It happens generationally. Some of the things that
Mm-hmm.
are placed in our lap, that's a lot to unravel. It's a
It
lot
really
to
is.
unpack. You know, Erica Badu, Queen Erica Badu, has a song Bag Lady, right?
Yes.
Will hurt your back. Dragging all that stuff and having all that stuff in your bag, you have to uh, unpack, repack real light, pack light, she said. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we have to unlearn and relearn.
Yes.
And it takes work. But you have to know that you're worthy of the work that
Mm-hmm.
you have to do.
Okay.
to become your best self, your highest self, your freest self.
I think that you have pretty much spoke to my heart this whole session, this whole recording that I didn't know you realized this or not, but you pretty much spoke to my heart. I know that there is a viewing and listening audience, but you really went down the line uh, concerning my life. And I just want to thank you for being with us on this morning. I was
Thank you.
honored and privileged to have you with us.
Thank
Where
you.
can we get your book? Where can we purchase your book?
Yeah, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere fine books are
Okay.
sold. You can, under this book series, the You Are Enough series, I write under Dr. Elissa Peterson.
Okay.
And then, my pen is very nice. I do have USA Today recommended romance under
Hmm.
Elissa Gabrielle. It's Eye of the Beholder. It's such a magnificent book. And I'm trying to make that book a film. It's such a
Okay.
good book. And I'm working on a few novels now.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
the whole entire You Are Enough series the last book will be out in December.
mm-hmm,
You Are Worthy of Forgiveness comes out the end of this month. And the
mm-hmm.
first two in the series are available on Amazon. So it's Dr. Elissa Peterson on Amazon, Elissa
Okay.
Gabrielle on Amazon.
Okay.
And then, my website, ElissaGabrielle.com,
Okay.
drelissa.org. And I like to tell people I'm Googleicious. So if you look up Elissa Gabrielle, you'll find me on most
Okay.
social media
Okay.
platforms. It's so hard to keep up with them, but I try.
Thank you, Dr. Elissa, for being with us on this morning. I pray that I can get back up with you sometimes in 2025. You,
Absolutely.
yes, you have been phenomenal, inspiring, and encouraging. And you're just the bomb, as I tell my grandkids. And they tell me that phrase is no longer in style.
Oh, it
But
isn't?
they tell me it's no longer in style. So, but I still tell them that just to make them laugh.
Mhm.
So thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you
you.
for you participating and being with us on this morning. Audience and our listening and viewing audience, thank you for being with us on this morning. 810 from my pen, 810 Studios from the great city of Clinton, North Carolina. Thank you. Yes, Dr. Elisa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you.
God bless you. Take care.
All
Bye-bye.
right, you too.
Thank you. Bye
Yes,
bye.
ma'am. Bye bye.